Tehran said all options would be considered to defend itself. "We will not remain silent. Iran will take the necessary steps to defend its sovereignty," Iranian authorities said after the U.S. airstrike. June 23, 2025, the Strait of Hormuz, located at the mouth of the Persian Gulf, is a narrow shipping lane that serves as a route for about 25% of global seaborne oil trade, including supplies to China, Europe and other regions. If Iran were to completely block access to giant tankers carrying oil and gas from the region, global oil prices would likely spike dramatically, triggering potential international economic shocks. Iran has a long history of intimidating and attacking merchant ships in the region in protest of sanctions or international pressure. Some analysts predict that Tehran will not need to formally announce the closure, but rather simply make the Strait of Hormuz too risky to pass through, for example by using small patrol boats, drones, or land-based missiles. The Strait of Hormuz is about 161 kilometers long, only 33.8 kilometers wide at its narrowest, and the shipping lanes are only 3.2 kilometers wide in each direction. Its proximity to Iran's coastline makes merchant ships extremely vulnerable to missile attacks or sea mines. Nearly 20 million barrels of crude oil and condensate per day from Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, the UAE, and Iran will pass through the Strait of Hormuz through 2024. The route is also crucial for the distribution of liquefied natural gas (LNG), especially from Qatar, which controls more than a fifth of global supplies. Past U.S. and allied responses. As threats to shipping in the Strait of Hormuz have increased, the United States and its allies have taken military action on several occasions. For example, during the Tanker War era 1980-1988, the U.S. Navy escorted tankers in the Persian Gulf. In 2019, the U.S. also sent an aircraft carrier and B-52 bombers to the region and formed a maritime security operation with 10 other countries now known as the International Maritime Security Construct (IMSC). However, the focus of security since 2023 has shifted to the southern Red Sea and the Bab el-Mandeb Strait due to increasing attacks by the Iran-backed Houthi militia on international shipping. Most recently, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio asked for China's help. This is because China is Iran's most important oil customer and maintains friendly relations with the Islamic Republic. "I encourage the Chinese government in Beijing to contact them about it, because they are very dependent on the Strait of Hormuz for their oil," Rubio said in an interview on Fox News. Global dependence on the Strait of Hormuz. Some countries such as Saudi Arabia and the UAE do have alternative routes to export their oil without having to go through the Strait of Hormuz. But countries like Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain and Iraq have no choice but to rely on this route. Even Iran itself still relies heavily on the strait for its oil exports, although it has been operating a new terminal in the port of Jask since 2021. Iran has repeatedly used unconventional means to show its displeasure at foreign pressure. In April 2024, Iran seized the Israeli-linked cargo ship MSC Ares near the Strait of Hormuz, hours before launching a drone and missile attack on Israel. The ship's crew was released a month later. In April 2023, Iran seized a U.S.-bound tanker in retaliation for the seizure of its oil cargo in Malaysia by U.S. authorities. In May 2022, 2 Greek tankers were detained for 6 months in retaliation for the seizure of Iranian oil cargo by Greek and U.S. authorities. However, Iran has never actually closed the Strait of Hormuz. Even when facing severe sanctions in 2011, Iran only threatened it without following through.